Hey friends, Megan McIntosh here. Welcome to this video. I hope you're all having a great Monday so far and just enjoying the spring weather. It's absolutely beautiful here now. Finally, we're in the mid-teens here in Canada, so no longer in the zeros or negative degrees Celsius weather, so that's a good news. And it's just nice to get a little bit away from winter. I know we'll probably have another snowfall. We always do in the spring, like March and April. But for now, it's actually getting really nice. So I just got back from a walk. I went outside for about an hour walk. I didn't mean to be that long. I'm like, I better get back. I gotta do my live stream. So today, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this topic. And we're going to talk about the 3 simple shifts I did to create clients in my coaching business. I have some notes here, which I'm going to follow along with. If you're there watching right now, please let me know. Drop a 1 down below in the comments. If you're watching right now, say hi, how you doing? Let me know where you're coming in from, what city, what town, what country, and what else? Oh, I know what I was going to say. Are you enjoying lovely spring? Is the weather nice where you are? Did you have a great weekend? I had a great weekend. We have 3 birthdays in our family that we are celebrating. It was my sister's birthday yesterday. It's my niece's birthday on Thursday. And then it was my dad's partner, Joan's birthday on I think it's the 13th. I can't remember the exact date, but I know it was like 2 weeks ago. So we just got together outside, of course, right? Because it's still COVID times and we're still in lockdown where I live. And we just got together and hung out and enjoyed the weather and a picnic and sandwiches and just walked around right by the lake. Hey John, good to see you. Oh, nice to see you from Singapore. That's so cool. I love Singapore. I actually spent some time there a long time ago. And I went to the nighttime safari, which was pretty cool. And stopped by the Raffles Hotel because it's super famous. And I just remember feeling like Singapore was so clean and organized. Yeah, 3 birthdays. It was pretty busy. It was a busy weekend. So, all right, I want to talk to you guys about the topic now. I'm going to talk about the 3 things that I did to help get clients in my business. Now, I've had my coaching business since technically I got my coaching training in 2011, but I didn't really start coaching people. Let me think. I feel like I would have landed my first client in either 2012 or 2013. I can't remember because even though I did the coach training, I didn't like dip my feet into actually coaching people for money until like maybe a year or 2 later, just because I had a job at the time when I was taking my coach training. So I wasn't really looking for clients. And then I moved back to Canada in the spring of 2012, and that would have been when I would have started getting clients in. And I leaned a lot on my network in terms of the people that I already knew. I did a lot of marketing on LinkedIn in terms of putting YouTube videos up there. So that's how I originally got clients. I mostly just reached out to people and did sales, which is something that I still do. But over the last few years, I don't know when I started internet marketing and learning about social media, but I really ramped that up, that aspect. And so now I'm pretty consistent in my business in terms of having an actual marketing strategy. Before it was more of sales. It was more constantly selling and reaching out to people, and I still do that. Obviously, that's what I teach on. I teach on sales, but I also have a marketing strategy, and there's certain things that you can tweak in your strategy to help call in those clients. So the first thing I want to talk about is your sales copy and your ability to get better at copywriting. If you're building a business, I feel like this is one of the things that we don't think about. I mean, maybe you do, but maybe you don't. And that's the idea of that. If you're building your business online, you're mostly doing content that is written or you're doing videos. And that is what your marketing is going to be. And then you're going to spread it out on social, maybe on your blog or your Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever you're going to put it, right? Twitter, who knows, right? You got so many different places you can promote yourself. And it's fine to go out there and put your content out there consistently and just like do it over and over and over again. But if you're not really thinking about who you're writing to, and you're not really understanding copywriting and how it attracts people in by the way you speak and the words that you use, as well as your style, it's going to be hard for your audience to get to know you. And I think that this is something that I always knew because I was in the advertising industry for 10 years, and that is basically an industry that's all about storytelling and copywriting and getting those ads to that place where people want to buy, right? And the only reason why a brand would hire out a advertising agency and the creative is simply that they can really work on the copy and really work on the campaign, because they're good with words and they're good with persuasive copy and they're good with understanding what the audience is looking to hear. And so it's really important to just understand that copywriting and learning how to write and understanding your audience and what kind of things resonates online is really a game changer. And I just can't emphasize this enough, because I know that so many people are just putting their content out there and they're not seeing results. And it's so frustrating because you just see so many people that are just putting their content out there and putting another post out, putting another post out. And there's so many times that I see posts online where I just think that's not going to get any traction, because it's either a paint by numbers kind of post where you're saying what everybody else on the internet is saying. And believe me, there's a lot of people in the coaching space now, so it's very competitive. And so it's easy to see those 3 tips or 3 steps too. And obviously I wrote that in the header of this, but you start seeing the same kind of content over and over and over again. And when that happens, you know that the market is saturated. And that's when you have to realize that getting good at your copy and understanding your voice and your style so that nobody can copy you is what is going to be the key, right? Because what happens is when you start getting out there and you start putting your copy out there, people will start resonating with your message, right? Because there are so many other people doing what you do. But unless you're saying your message in a way that is in your voice and your style, and then they get to know your style. So I find that I was talking to my friend last night, and she was saying your copy seems to be getting better. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Give me the praise. Tell me what you mean by that. And she said, well, I just feel like you found your voice, because she knows me in person, so she knows the way I am, the way I talk, and my mannerisms. And she said, I just feel like you're more you in your copy, and I can feel your vibe. And that's the biggest compliment anyone can get, because your vibe and the way you come across in your content is going to separate you from everybody else, because everybody's teaching the same stuff now. You're going to have a billion people talking about content strategies. There's going to be so many people that are doing what you do in the field. There's a lot of Instagram experts. There's a lot of coaches. And so your ability to shine through that clutter and shine through the noise and the competitors is really your ability to find your voice. And so one of the ways that I did this is really, obviously practice. I've been writing content forever. So another thing that my friend said was that her sister is on my Facebook, and she's like, oh my gosh, your friend Megan is everywhere. She's putting so much content out. I don't know how she does it all. She must have a lot of time on her hands. And my friend said, no, that's kind of funny, but it's just a matter of I had to get good at writing copy faster and knowing my own method and how to write copy and how to get it out there and promote it. Obviously I have a virtual assistant now who can actually push the copy out there and the content out there. So while I write it, I have someone else that actually puts it on all these different places. So people are like, how does she put that everywhere? Well, it's actually not me that's putting my content out there. Someone else is doing that, but I am writing the content. But I also am not afraid to go back into my old content vault, right? I have a blog that I've been writing on since either 2011 or 2012. I have a whole bunch of posts that I put in different places on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, that I can just go and say, hey, there's a piece of content that I wrote way back when, let me archive that content. And so that's something that I started to do, is archive my old content and really take those pieces of content that I used maybe one time, 4 or 5 years ago. For instance, this week, I have a piece of content that's going out that I wrote in 2016. that I found it on my blog that I wrote in 2016, and I'm like, that's actually, I like that piece of content. That was pretty good, right? And so instead of just using that content one time for that one blog post that went out in 2016, I took that piece, I looked at it, I read it over, I said, let me just change a few things, let me make it, more up to date with who I am now, and just like move things around and maybe put emoji here. But overall it was really good. I just had to do a few tweaks. Imagine the time saver, right? So I know a lot of people see me putting a lot of content out there, but I've been at this since 2012. So I have a lot of content. Now, have I been consistent in 2012? Hells no. No, I have not. But I do have a lot of content out there. I can literally go into this Facebook group and go to the beginning of it and look and say, oh, there's a post I want to repurpose and maybe write it slightly different. I can go onto my blog. I can look at my YouTube channel. Like, when you start creating content, you can reuse it. And I really encourage you to think about that, but also think about the sales copy. So I was in a mastermind last year where I basically learned some really good copywriting strategies, things that you could do in a way to call in, those empowered clients, those premium level clients, that just added to that next level of my copy. So oftentimes you can write copy where you're calling in the wrong people, where you're not calling in your ideal clients. So when you start learning copywriting techniques to actually bring in the right people, it really does work, and it's worked for me. So, and then figuring out the type of content to put out, right? What type of post to put out. And then the last thing I want to say about that number one point before we go to number 2 and number 3 is then once you get those strategies and structures, like I have the copywriting techniques, I know what to do, I have them. If I ever want to look at them, I can go to look at them. At the same time, if you feel any pressure that your copy is taking too long to write, or you're like, oh, I have to do, Monday I have to do a post where I'm educating people, and Tuesday I have to do a post where I'm doing a testimonial, and Thursday I have to do a post where I'm showing my value, right? Like, there are different types of content that you should be spreading across your social media, and so you have to be aware of that. And I have actually 6 content types that I teach my clients. But I also want you to also sometimes throw that out, because if you're putting too much pressure on yourself, this is what my coach teaches me all the time and talks to her clients about, and she actually went live today talking about this topic, so that's why all of a sudden I'm bringing it up. I wasn't meant to, but if you're putting too much pressure on yourself that this piece of content that you're writing is like the be-all, end-all, and you have to do it this specific structure and format, you're not going to write it, and you're going to get, you're going to waste time to write the content. So what I do is, if I feel like the formula is going to help me in my writing process, I'm like, oh, I need a copywriting formula, let me use that, I will use it. But if I'm not in that headspace and I just want to write something that comes from the heart and flow it out, then I just don't worry about the structure. So I just let go of the formulas and I speak from my truth. All right, so number 2. Number 2 is something you hear every time someone's doing a live stream, but this is like literally, this is it. This is it. This is the key. And I know a lot of you maybe think you have this, but you probably don't. And that is consistency with the strategy and sticking with it until it starts working and being able to test and tweak it. So what does consistency mean? It really means with your content is choosing the specific strategies, the marketing and sales strategies that you're going to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and doing them over and over again. And even if the strategy for some reason is not working, maybe you're just new to the strategy, maybe it takes time for people to start seeing you because you're just getting visible with your strategy. If you stop too soon, honestly, you're not going to see results. And so the key thing is like being consistent with your strategy over and over and over again as that strategy plays itself out without maybe seeing results. But if you start paying attention to the consistency that you're doing, you can start seeing miniature results, okay? So what are some things that might be miniature results that aren't necessarily clients to see if your strategy is sort of working, okay? Let me just give you some examples of this. Because a lot of people, when I'm coaching with them, that we're working on the strategy together, we start the strategy, and then I have to stay with them and coach them through the mindset stuff that comes up when they feel like the strategy is so-called not working, when in fact it probably is working. They just don't see the minute shifts that are happening as they're implementing the strategy. So for instance, people think, well, I don't have any clients yet, so my strategy is not working. Well, have you looked at these things, right? Is your email list growing? Are you getting new people on your email list? Maybe one person, two people. That means that the strategy might be probably working and it's getting to work, right? It's starting to work. Maybe you don't have huge momentum yet, but it's baby steps. Are you getting more engagement on your posts, right? Is more people commenting? Are you getting more people liking your stuff? Maybe the strategy is starting to work if you're starting to notice more engagement on your posts, right? It doesn't mean you're already going to have a client right away, but you have to look at these minute things so that you start celebrating those little things that are getting you to that bigger goal. If you're growing a Facebook group, if you're noticing that, hold on, my battery says it's going to die. If you're noticing that more people are joining your Facebook group, that is basically telling you that your strategy is working, right? If your Instagram's growing. So it's what are those little things that you notice that are going to help you feel good as that strategy is being implemented with time? Because the only way a strategy is going to work really is the time, and taking the time for your audience to get to know you, to start to trust you, and to feel ready to buy. And that's a process, right? If someone's just getting into your community, sometimes they might buy right away. Sometimes they might book a call with you, but not always. And it might take them watching your videos or seeing your content for months' time before they ever buy from you. I mean, I know when I booked my coaches in the past, it depends, right? Some programs, I've seen the sales page. Maybe I saw an ad on Facebook or Instagram, and I literally bought the course. I've had that happen to me where I didn't know the person, and they marketed to me, and I saw something, and I really decided, let's do this. But then there's other things that I've purchased where it took me a long time to make the decision. And then when the only reason why it took me a long time is I really wanted to sink into that decision and really watch and learn. And so it took me a while to really get knowing that coach before I purchased from them. So I want you to know that this is something that we all, it doesn't matter where you are in your business in terms of the mindset stuff that comes up. If you were thinking, oh, I don't know if this is working, I feel like this week is slower for me or whatever, right? I'm not getting as many sales, right? It really is staying in the process of the consistency of your strategy and doing it over and over and over again. And eventually, there's no way it won't work. I just know it, and it's guaranteed. There's no way if you're doing something over and over and over again and you're getting in front of the right audience. You definitely have to know your ideal client. You have to know who the people that you want to reach out to, and that you know are the people that could potentially buy from you. Yes, if you're doing a strategy and it's not working, but you're in front of the wrong reason, the wrong audience, it doesn't matter how much you do the strategy. Of course, it's not going to work. So you do have to know your audience. But if you know your audience and you're in front of your audience, it's just a matter of time before they start believing you and trusting you and being ready to buy from you. Okay, and number 3, that is something that we talk about and we know we should be doing, but it's sometimes there's a lot of resistance. And what that is high level support. So support, what kind of support do you need? Okay, so I have my own one-on-one coach, right? I have a coach that I pay, and I have her to support me. She keeps me in the game. She keeps me accountable. We brainstorm together. What did I write here? It looks like I wrote not just a coffee. I have no idea what I said that there. Anyway, I won't say that point. I have a coach that I work with, and last year I was in a very high level mastermind where I had a supportive coach as well as a copywriter that was helping me. So I've had support for a long time. And so I know what I was going to say, not just the courses. So it's not just getting support by buying those courses. Buying courses is great. I'm not saying it's not something that you should do. I've bought a lot of courses in my time, and I do find them helpful if I want to learn a new skill. But I do find that the support of a high-level mentor or coach is literally what changed the game for me. 100%. Like there's nothing, I could tell you everything on here to do with marketing strategy, with sales strategy, but if you're not executing on your strategies, if you make a plan but you don't do the plan, if you wake up one day and you don't feel like it, if you're stop and starting all the time, like maybe you go in spurts in your business and like one week you're going hard and maybe you have a launch and you're launching and then the next week you're exhausted and you're, you can't do anything and you don't really have a plan for your content. Like the thing with support, like high level support, it really does keep you in the game because you are paying a price tag for keeping yourself in the game. And also you're getting that those mindset shifts continually because you have that support from a coach who can constantly shift you when you have the human things come up, right? As a human, you're going to have those feelings of doubt, of insecurity, of, oh, is this not working? It's totally normal. And it doesn't matter where you are in your business. There's always going to be that human experience. And so having that coach in your corner who supports you, who's constantly knows exactly what you're going through because they're going through it, because they've been there, it's unbelievable how much it's going to change your business and change your life and change your consistency and change everything for you. And I know a lot of people talk about this and they talk about getting support and they talk about how important it is. And I know I resisted it so long. I resisted having really high level support for a long, long time because I was burned in the past. And it wasn't the person that, I wasn't burned by the person in the sense, but I just wasn't in the mindset space. So I basically made a huge investment and it was not a good investment for me at that time. And I never blame anyone because it was my own investment and my own choice. But I think what happened for me is that stopped me from investing very high level for a long period of time because I was just like, oh, I don't want it to be like that same experience, right? And so but then I just got to the point where I knew that this was the game changer for me. I knew taking another course, learning a new strategy, learning the Instagram algorithm hacks, how to write a caption, how to do all these different things was not going to get me the results. That learning another strategy is not going to get me the results. I knew everything. I already knew all the strategy. I knew my thing was executing consistently on the strategies that I knew that I could do and executing and keeping myself in the game and keeping my mindset on point and also having that person to brainstorm with and having that person to hold me accountable. And literally it's been incredible. And if you don't have support, I highly recommend it. So what other kind of support do I mean? Another kind is to help you with your business. So I have a virtual assistant and I can't tell you how so much easeful it is having someone to help me do all the things. Because when you have a business, you have to think about everything. You've got your marketing, you've got your sales, you've got your operations, you've got your clients to look after, you've got your admin, you've got everything. There's so many moving pieces to having a business and it gets really overwhelming. And so you start thinking, oh, I'm a superwoman, I can do it all, right? But you won't be able to. You'll burn yourself out. And I knew that if I didn't get support with my business, I would burn out. And so getting a virtual assistant who basically takes my content, puts it out there on the internet, helps me with my hashtag strategy on Instagram, helps me with basically getting my stuff everywhere, right? I have a whole system. That's a fourth point that I just want to mention too that's really changed the game for me. I created systems for myself to make my business easier for me so that every single day I know exactly what to do. If you don't know what you're doing every single day in your business, you're probably not going to do anything in your business if you don't really know what your strategy is and you wake up and you say, I'm maybe going to do a video today or going to do a post today. But if you have like a literally strategy mapped out and you have a way for it systemized, then you can give that system to someone else to implement. And that's exactly what I've done. I use actually Trello and Google Docs as my project management system, but you can use whatever you want. And so once you create a system where you know this is going to repeatedly and sustainably get me clients and get me what I want, here, here's the system, right? Here's how to work the system, and you can give it to someone else to actually do the system for you. So then what that gives you the space to then come up with the creative content ideas, to come up with the post, to come up with the video ideas, to come up with the content, right? And that's what I really needed to think about, is I need high level support, so I'm working in my zone of genius, right? I don't work in my zone of genius if I'm doing my back-end website. I'm not working in my zone of genius if I'm fiddling with my tech. I'm not doing my zone of genius if I have to know when to post in all these different groups, and I post on my Instagram and what time to post and which hashtags to use, right? And thinking of all these little things because it's exhausting. And so I knew that what is my zone of genius? And this is something that I ask you to think about in your own business. For me, my zone of genius is my thought leadership and my coaching of my clients. That's pretty much what it is. When I say thought leadership, it's the idea of writing the content, coming up with the ideas, showing how I'm different, showing up in a way that I have energy. So my energy is looked after and I'm not drained. So that thought leadership of being that person that is moving the business forward and with my ideas. So if I'm doing all these other things that are outside of my zone of genius, I'm going to have very little time to come up with good ideas. I'm going to have very little time to be innovative and be creative and really have those ideas and those posts and those videos flow through me. It's like a little bottleneck. Flow through me, right? And so that's what I realized. I'm like, what are my zone of genius? My zone of genius is my thought leadership, my writing, and my content creation, and being able to come up with those ideas. And my other zone of genius is my coaching and supporting my clients, right? All that other stuff is not my zone of genius, and I have to pass it off, right? And I have to give it to someone else to do. Putting those posts out. I can write the content and then I can give it to someone else. So all I have to do is the rest of the week is not worry about the content, right? If I decide on the Friday or the weekend or Monday to have all my content done, I know it's going to be going out for me the rest of the week, right? And it's just honestly, the amount of energy spent in doing all these little detail-oriented things in our business really can burn you out, because you're multitasking so many different things, and you're thinking 1 minute like a strategist, the next minute you're thinking like a coach, the next time you're thinking like someone that's in billing and operations, the next thing you're thinking like a graphic designer, right? Like even my virtual assistant does Canva graphics for me. And so if you're having to do all these different things, it's like your brain capacity, it's everywhere. And I'm not saying it's the bad thing. I did all these things in the beginning. Believe me, I did. I learned Canva. I learned how to do HTML coding. I learned all this stuff, right? It's awesome. I learned it. But then once I learned it, I'm like, okay, now I want to just do my zone of genius. What is my zone of genius? So ask yourself what that is. And then what I did to create that ease for myself is create the systems for the things that I was doing to be able to pass them off. So I would create a system around the different things that I wanted to pass off, and then I would basically teach someone how to do those things. And so that's getting high level support is for your energy, it's for your thought leadership, it's for your creativity, and it's really going to help you become that business owner that you're meant to be. Because if you don't have support, I promise you, you're going to one day burn out. And I know we call it solo entrepreneurship, and are you a solopreneur? But eventually, to get known online with a competitive space, and doing all the different things that it takes to grow an online business, it's sold online that it's so easy. It's sold that you can just make money from a laptop at the beach, right? But really, if you think about it, there's a lot of moving parts to having a business, and you have to think about it like a business. You don't just think about it like all those pictures online with someone on their laptop on a beach, right? There's so many moving parts, and once you understand and you're in the business, kind of the weeds for a long time, you realize that there's all these things that are going on. And if you're not doing income-producing activities, which are basically selling and marketing and getting your social media and posts out there, you're maybe wasting time on other things, it's just gonna slow you down, right? So I would also, another thing is getting any content out there, right? Being able to say, oh, I don't have to worry about these emails going out because someone else is gonna get those to go out for me, right? And so those are the 3 things that I really recommend that you do and that I've done to really help me get more clients and feel much more easy in my business. Like I just feel things are easier. Like whenever anyone hey Vin, nice to see you. Whenever people talk about ease in business, this is what they're talking about. They've got their systems set up and they've got the support. And I will guarantee you that I've seen so many videos where I'm like, what kind of ease? Like it's a lot of work. But the people that are talking about ease are usually the people that have figured out, I need support. I can't do this on my own. And so I encourage you to think about that if you want to get more ease. If you want to be like up all night and do things 24/7, go for it. But it's not fun. So what are the 3 things that I did to really get consistent clients in my business and to feel good about it and have more ease in it is number 1, I got really good at writing. I learned copywriting and learned how to write sales copy. And I let go of making it every post like be this like, this is the post that has to get me clients. And more I thought about it like, I can't wait to put this piece of content out here and have energy around it and just infuse as much of me as possible in the content. Number 2, consistency and being able to know your strategy, get that strategy down, have the systems to do the strategy, and then being consistent with it continually, right? And sticking to that strategy and being consistent over a period of time, because you have to be consistent. If you're constantly stopping and starting your business, you're gonna have people that like follow you for a bit and then they say, what's going on with this person? Why are they like disappeared? Oh, it's 5 a.m. there? Oh my goodness, that's super early. Good for you for waking up early. And now I'm actually near the end of the live stream, so hopefully you can watch the replay. And number 3, getting that high level support, whatever that is. If it's a coach, if it's an assistant, if it's a team member, this is going to help you feel so much more relief in your business and ease in your business, because then you can do the things that are actually really important for you, like marketing, selling, and getting those clients, right? If you're doing all the other things and you're not supported, it's gonna like hold you back. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. Bye.